I want to introduce you to Anything But Dull, a program about teaching character to our children by Heather, Rosalind, Abby, Michelle, and Meg. As we teach students math, reading, history, and science, it is easy to simply work toward the goal of an appropriate benchmark scores. It seems that we've simply done our duty if we have expanded subject knowledge and curiosity in our students. However, what good is it to not help them fully achieve their potential to appropriately participate in society if we have not also given them the moral guidance of what is good? This is character education. Character education is very different than prevention programs that simply address the surface issue of specific problems. It addresses the development of repetitive internalized virtues. It encompasses the head, heart, and hand. Succinctly put, curriculum must not only help students know the good, it must also inspire them to want to do what is good and what is right. When we begin to focus on character education, several questions come to mind. In researching this subject, we found several different answers to these questions. One of the ages we would like to focus on is children in middle to late childhood. These are usually the ages of 8 to 11 that are in the prime age for cognitive development and socio-emotional growth. The components are both necessary for moral growth. When it comes to thinking about worldviews, it can be sometimes daunting to think about all of the different worldviews that are out there and the ethical theories that are out there. However, it's important to note that we have so much more in common than we have separate from each other. For example, moral goodness and the importance of developing that character within each of us can be found in almost all of the worldviews out there. Theism, deism, Islamic theism, and even naturalism and postmodernism have some emphasis on moral cause and effect. Value is placed on an individual's chosen set of character virtues that have positive effect. And it's important to find that commonality because all worldviews aim to clarify the purpose of life and serve as a compass to direct ethical thinking. Essentially, no matter an individual's worldview, character traits are prized and sought. It's so important for teachers to understand about worldviews and ethical theories, but also the character traits that tend to bind all of these things together. And in this is where we begin to focus on our community around us. This importance of educating morality based on community-supported virtues is founded in the ownership that parents have in becoming partners in this great community endeavor. In keeping with the concept of community building through inspirational character building in our schools, our team has derived character traits by popular vote. While there are many different character qualities out there to teach to our young children, our team has come up with 6 character qualities that we felt were very important to the youth in our schools. They are leadership, responsibility, concern for others, integrity, respect, and finally courage. The task of leadership is not to put greatness into people, but to elicit it, for the greatness is there already. Leadership programs have been taking place in high schools for many, many years, but recently school administrations have begun to focus on middle schools and elementary schools to begin to kind of implement these programs. This has greatly helped the children in their problem-solving strategies. It's helped in the peer relationships. It's helped students to rise up and to actually even help the other children develop even more character qualities through the leadership initiative programs. And most importantly, it also helps the children to develop a great sense of self-worth. So we've come up with several activities that we would like to discuss and like to dialogue with other teachers about ways that they could help develop leadership programs for the students in their classes. One fun activity is to create leadership committees. These committees would be divided into groups of only about 3 or 4 students, and the focus would be for those students to come up with initiatives to help their school and surrounding community. In these smaller groups, students would be able to rise up and take the leadership roles that they need to. Another area that we felt was very important was in the area of responsibility. This also came with 2 separate components. One of those was taking responsibility for our mistakes. When a student makes a mistake, it's very easy for them to start making excuses, but we thought we would work out a solution for them to be able to take responsibility for that mistake. Number 1, they should discuss the reasons behind their action, which does not have to be making excuses, but to actually expound on why they did something wrong. Then it would be important to work with either each other or to work with the teacher to find a tangible solution to that problem. Also, having the students write down ideas to help them to not make that mistake again. And finally, really helping them to forgive themselves. The other side to responsibility is being able to take care of something that's in your possession. So one activity we had thought would be fantastic for this was to teach the children how to grow a plant. The wonderful thing about this is that there's really no shortcut to how fast a plant grows. It also must be watered and cared for every day. At the end of the period of time where the students were working on this project, they would see the reward of their hard work and responsibility. They would have a beautiful plant to take home. The third character quality that we wanted to focus on was concern. This is so important for children to understand, as often children are very focused on themselves. It's important for adults to know, though, that children need to understand how they feel so that they can better understand how others feel. This is really going to be able to help them to look beyond themselves to see the people around us. When they can see that someone else feels sad and realize that there are times where they themselves have felt sad, they can look at that person and say, how would I feel in that situation? And they can put themselves in their shoes. This character quality is so important for our children in their schools and in their families and the community around them to really be able to look beyond themselves. This is one of the activities we came up with. This leads us to integrity, which is a concept of consistent actions, values, methods, measures, principles, expectations, and outcomes. Integrity is regarded as honesty and truthfulness or accuracy of one's actions. To capture the essence of this, we've explored this concept through another real-life example, actually asking children what they felt integrity was. In a pluralistic society, it's so important to establish a standard, and I love the idea of having children be involved in establishing that standard. Then they can go ahead and implement the activity that we have here. Our fifth character quality we wanted to focus on was the quality of respect. This really starts with us. Every day as educators, we should be modeling respect to our students and showing them what a respectful person looks like. This means saying please and thank you to not only our peers but also to our students, to not be yelling unnecessarily, and especially not talking about people, even students, behind their backs. One fun idea we thought would be great for the children to work on was to create a banner together. Each of the children would need to find a picture and a quote that has to do with respect. They could get very creative with their banner and work in teams. I love the idea that working together would also reinforce the concept of respecting each other's ideas. Last but not least, we want to focus on courage. In a world where children are often picked on for various unchangeable aspects to their life, we need to be the educators who teach our children and students to have courage to stand up for themselves and others. This is an activity we came up with. We want to thank you for listening to this presentation. In this review, we looked at many tools and techniques educators can use in order to foster this type of learning in their schools. However, no matter the emphasized virtues in your own community, it's important to make sure that your community takes part of how this learning occurs. This begins with choosing the virtue. It evolves from a collaborative plan to community beliefs, or to a community benefit. In this process, students and educators recap the rewards of fostering a new generation rich in the depth of character. From this, society as a whole becomes more fruitful, one person at a time. This is anything but